So something to keep in mind about judgment, and that's one of the things that I think we just constantly do all day long. We judge other people, we see people, we can't help but have a judgment, and most of that is unconscious. And when we're unconscious and aware of a judgment, it's usually coming from a need to be right. And what that often means is that we're trying to be right about some of the same things that we do. We may not do the exact same behaviors or actions that you're judging somebody else for doing. But if you do look, probably there was some point in your life where you did do that action. Maybe it was 20 years ago, and maybe that person's stuck where you were 20 years ago. But the reason why they're doing it is probably the same, whether it's fear, insecurity, guilt, shame, whatever it is that you're judging their behavior for is something that you've done yourself. And so when we judge somebody from an unconscious place, it's done in order for us to feel right and justified for our own stuff that we're unconscious to. But when you move to a place of understanding, where you kind of step into a greater level of compassion for your own humanity, the things that you've done, and you see that somebody else has done that, then that becomes a place of discernment. And judgment isn't bad from that place, because now you can start to say, oh, yes, I want more of that, or I don't want more of that. And as you direct your life, judgment can be a very useful tool. And then that leads to a level of acceptance of things. Like, okay, this is presented to me. Well, I don't want this. I don't want that drink. I don't want that piece of steak. I don't want, this person in my life. And so you're not judging them for being right or wrong. You're just kind of discerning whether or not this fits what you actually want. So just keep that in mind when you're judging. Are you judging from an unconscious, righteous place, or are you judging from a heart-centered place where you have compassion and discernment? So something for you to consider as you go throughout your day. All judgment is unconscious is an opportunity for you, again, to look at yourself. And then when you understand yourself, it's much easier to understand somebody else, and then use judgment to help guide you.